What's going on, everybody? It is, I don't know, 10:30 or so on January 2nd. Today is a great day in the sense of having a chance to go through what I've been doing now for, this is my fourth year. If you follow my station, you know that I'm, actually, what am I talking about? Today is the 1st, January 1st. It's New Year's Day. Happy New Year. I'm doing this video live for a simple reason that my phone, which is kind of old, has zero space on it, and I don't have the time or patience, it seems, anymore to edit and upload videos. So doing a live video has actually been easier for me because once it's done, it's saved, it's up there, and I can just update the descriptions and so on. So anyway, the purpose of today's video is to go through my achievements for 2022 and talk about how I did in terms of my goal setting. If you're new to my station, since 2019, January 2019, I started my station, and what started out as like a station to just chronicle my life and trying to improve my life and achieve certain things has kind of evolved into a series of habits I've created. Not something revolutionary, it's goal setting, not the sexiest thing, but it is actually something I find extremely valuable and extremely important to being successful in life. So for the fourth year now, I spend a tremendous amount of time and energy thinking about my goals when a new year starts. And then during the year, I really sit down and take a lot of effort in tracking how I'm doing. And at the end of the year, I look back and see how I did. And then I start fresh and I set goals for the new year. So it's a very rewarding experience. Just a few kind of comments in advance about goal setting in general, because you're going to hear some of the goals and they're worded in such a way that people may think like it sounds silly. But a few things about goal setting. First of all, I write goals with an intentional mindset. I don't write, I hope, I wish, it would be nice if. I write goals like it will be easy to, I will, and things like I will achieve, right? I write things very intentionally, and I do that on a couple of reasons. One, on a weekly basis, I review my goals, and when I review my goals and see how I word them, it keeps topics in the forefront of my mind. Things are very hectic, right? We all have busy lives. There's a lot of distractions, unexpected things and surprises come up. And if you don't constantly surround your mindset with things you want, it'll be easy for you to fall off path. So I write my goals very intentionally. I write my goals very detailed. I write my goals in such a way that I could measure them. I think about things in short, medium, and long term. And I want things to be achievable, right? We all like to be multimillionaires, but we know we're not going to wake up tomorrow and have that winning lotto ticket, as nice as it may be. So we have to set goals that are achievable in the short term. They build momentum, they build confidence. And over the years, I've really grown fond of this and take this very seriously. So I will go through my different goals. I will go through my achievements, and in advance, obviously, I'll warn you, this is not a fun video in the sense like you're going to really see some sexy animations, or you're really going to see some nice content in the sense of like, this is it, right? It's me sitting at a table reading 5 or 6 pages worth of my goals, and I do this for an important reason, to just show the kind of discipline it takes, or at least that I've seen it takes, if you really want to be serious about achieving things in your life and putting yourself out there and going outside of your comfort zone and trying to achieve goals that you wouldn't otherwise think are something that you could go after, right? So the way this works is I'm going to read the goals, I'm going to go through one by one, give you a few comments, and this probably will take about an hour. So let's dive in and get started. So 2022 goals. I always start out writing my goals for what my intentions are. I really feel that I'm destined for greatness, abundance, and happiness. I want to be an amazing support, a source of support, love, and inspiration to my family and close friends. But to do this, I really feel like I need to reach a certain potential in my life, and I must commit to being, to having amazing and intentional habits, put in tremendous work. And these are things I've been doing since January of 2019. I will improve myself at least 1% every day. And I've created 7 life pillars. And these are the pillars which my objectives or goals are surrounding by. Life pillar number 1, my goals around career and side gigs. 2, health, nutrition, and body. 3, personal development and spirituality. 4, family and personal relationships. 5, travel and lifestyle, 6, personal finances and investments, and 7, public charity, or public service and charity. So what do these goals look like? Well, first of all, just so you can see, I type my goals on paper and take notes throughout the year. These are how much I write down and how much I think about. And it's a lot, right? But look, we have one life. This is it. We want to make the most out of our life, or you want to float around, let the wind blow you wherever it wants to. I choose to be the master of my future and kind of the leader of what my potential is. And this is why I write so much. So my career and side gigs, this is split into 3 categories. My career is around what I wanted to see in terms of my compensation at my current job. A little bit more about that in a moment, and kind of networking. Next is what I thought around what I could do with YouTube and Instagram. And lastly, some side gig work, which I'll also talk about. So me, a little bit about me. I have been working in technology for 22 years. I got my bachelor's degree in computer science. And then I also, several years later, went back and got my MBA in strategy and business administration. I've been working for large blue chip companies in the technology area, and I've groomed myself into being a leader in technology divisions that think about, plan, and create large enterprise-wide technology for businesses to operate better. It's a kind of simple version. I manage over 100 people around the world. My company is based in Europe, and I work from home ever since COVID started. Prior to working from home, I traveled around the world every 6 weeks or so for about 2 weeks, and it was a fascinating experience. I've been to every continent and traveled to probably over 25 countries, and it's been a really cool experience. It's definitely different working from home, but it works, and I work early hours and get to end my meetings earlier than normal because Europe is 6 hours ahead. So my meetings stop around 12:30. After an hour or so of email, I'm done around 1:30. So it's what I would call a unicorn job because I'm getting really paid very well. I work very hard, of course, and I do deliver a lot of value, but I'm working out of my home and ending my day in an afternoon, which is awesome. I've been there 7 years, and that's a bit about my job and my employment. So what are my goals? My goals were, first, I wanted to realize a AA rating for my job performance. What does that mean? Well, I get paid in 3 levels. I get paid a base salary, I get paid a cash bonus, and I get paid in stock. My bonus is determined by how I performed in the year and how the company performed. So if you get an A scorecard, that's like meeting your target, and I get 25% of my base salary is my bonus. But if I do better than an A, AA in this case, I'll get 125% of my target. So if my target is $100,000, I'll get $125,000, just to keep the math simple. So I wanted to strive to get AA rating. And that was a evaluation that happened on March 15th, 2022. And I'm proud to say that I did get a AA rating. Really proud of myself for that because it was a hard year. And yeah, I hit the mark on that. The comp, I wanted to, this comp goal was I will receive an amazing and total compensation payment of at least $215,000. That includes stock and bonus. And this will allow me a ton of financial flexibility in 2022 and also allow me to do things like increase my investments, my savings, and do some home renovations. So my goal was $215,000, and I was blessed beyond belief to see that my bonus total comp was not $215,000, it was $249,318. That was broken out by getting a bonus of a little over $101,000 $100,000, and the stock, which was the biggest part of it, the company had an amazing year, even though there was COVID going on, was almost $148,000. So 148 plus 101-ish is where I got to get 249,000. My take-home pay was around, what was it, 160 something percent of that, so it was like 140 something thousand, doing the math on the top of my head. So it was amazing. It was a great point. I'll never forget, I was in Atlantic City celebrating my brother's anniversary, and we were staying overnight. We were out to dinner, and we were walking through the casino, and I remember getting a reminder to check my pay stub because the payments came through. So I went onto my bank account, and they give you like a preview into the deposit before it actually comes the next day. So I was in Atlantic City the night before, and I looked at my bank account and I saw that deposit pending, and it was an amazing moment. I've never seen that amount of money deposited in my account, which had 6 digits in it in one shot. And a really cool feeling, and I'm very proud of myself, and I thank God that that worked out the way that it did. So that was the comp. Base salary is, I wanted to see myself get a base salary raise of at least 3%, which will bring my total base salary to around 270,000. I didn't get 3, I got 4. So my base salary was for this year 273,000-ish, a little bit higher. So those job related goals came out phenomenal, and I'm incredibly blessed on that. Albeit I work extremely hard. It's a high stress job, so I kind of feel like I deserve it, but you never really know how much others feel you deserve until you get something in writing. So I hit the mark, feel like I hit the mark on that. Next was related to networking, and specifically here, my presence on LinkedIn and how I wanted to try to attend some more seminars and conferences and so on. The LinkedIn one I did okay on. This was saying that every day was a reminder to spend at least 15 minutes on LinkedIn to contribute and comment to different posts that are of interest or similar to my background, create new posts that others can interact with, add to my professional network, check any job openings in case anything seemed interesting. And I feel like I did this 80% of the time. Not much else to really say. The prior year I did a number of articles that were thought-provoking and gained a lot of good attention. I didn't do, I think, so many this year, and probably something I should really pick up with and continue to expand my network and my reach. So we'll see how I can do better on that this year. In terms of seminars and conferences, I said I will actively pursue, identify, and participate in at least 4 related career conferences to increase my network and gain new knowledge. I didn't do 4, I did 1, and that was in September. It was an online event, and got to interact with some different people in different companies and some senior roles and talk about, boring technical stuff, technology stuff. And I really need to keep a better eye on this next year, or this coming year. I think it's important to constantly put yourself out there, to constantly be open to education, to meet people, learn new things, and constantly keep the pipeline of your network really full. So I got to work on that. In terms of YouTube and Instagram, I don't make money with these platforms. I do these videos because I find that I have some interesting experience in certain areas of my life, specifically around personal development, motivation, and health and physical fitness. And I get some good reviews, I get some good posts, but I don't really know like where I'm going with this, to be honest, and like whether I'm going to try to monetize something, or it wasn't really my intent. My intent was to go after certain goals, or reach those goals, and then try to motivate others to show what's possible. And that's what I've been doing. I really didn't do a ton. I did a number of videos this year. I don't remember what the count was. It was probably over 20, 25 for the whole year. But I think this coming year, I want to be more active on YouTube. And I started an Instagram page. I wanted 1,000 subscribers in YouTube. I think I got close to 500. Instagram, I wanted 500, and coincidentally, I'm over 7,000 there. And I think that, like, 'cause my Instagram is strictly like my like me working out at the gym, my body composition, foods I'm eating, and a bit about my family. So I had a couple of videos that really took off there and seemed to draw a good following. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's something I'm going to continue to do. There were some videos I wanted to do which I didn't, and this year I really what I'm going to do. I'll do live videos because it makes it easier from an administration perspective. Is I wanted to do regular check-ins. I'm doing a video in the beginning of the year to say here are my objectives. I do a video at the end of the year that say here's how I did against those objectives. But I also wanted to do something ideally monthly, but probably more realistically every quarter, so every 3 months. Because you really want to hold yourself accountable. So I did pretty good on this. I blew out of the water Instagram, which I think was luck. YouTube still picking up. That's about it. The next one was dealing with what I call my side gig. It's kind of evolved and it's a kind of funny niche. It's phone consultations. There's a couple of companies that are similar to having like a business network. You register your resume, your skills, your qualifications, and what happens is companies want answers to certain questions, or they want to hear about people's experience doing certain things, but they don't want to, pay a large contract to work with a large consulting company. So they would go to these companies, they would say, here's the things I'm looking for. And then there's like sales reps that would go out, look into the systems and the database and see who are the different people that have these similar skills. And they would create a questionnaire, and then they'd blast out these questionnaires. And if people like me get an alert, see it, and they say, yeah, this is something I could talk about, I would fill out the questionnaire and submit it. And my hope is that their client would say, yeah, I want to talk to this guy. I set an hourly rate. My hourly rate is $650. And they could choose to do a 30-minute call, which is half of that, or a full hour call. And I've been doing this for a few years, and I think it's like Uber, the more of these you do, the more ratings you get, the more credibility you get, and your name kind of bubbles up to the top a little bit quicker. So I wanted to stay relevant here and continue to act on any requests that come through. Did make a decent amount of money for a part-time gig, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wanted to stay relevant, make sure my resumes were polished, my profile was updated, and I did do that pretty well. And I also wanted to see if I could join any new networks. I'm currently part of 3 networks. 2 out of the 3 gave me 98% of the revenue. This one, I think I got 1 or 2. I don't know if it's just a smaller type of company or they don't get as many business opportunities. I don't know, whatever. But I wanted to see if I could join some new ones, and I did. I joined one other one. I'm not going to go through the details of it. It's really not important. But again, I wanted to try to keep a big pipeline there. So for a career and side gig, I really feel proud of how I did. I'm really blessed on how the year went, and really hope things continue like they did. I definitely won't have as high of a monetary comp this year. But you'll hear a little bit more about like total comp. But in terms of cash bonus, like it's just going to probably be a bit less. I'm guessing half of that 250. I'd be blessed to see 130 this year. Because the stock, the number of stock awards I have has gone down in terms of what's vested, and the company may not has had as much of a stellar year because the COVID effects are slowly winding down. But anyway, so all's good there. Next is health, nutrition, and body. Guys, this goal has evolved in such a way I can't explain. I never imagined. And if there's one area of my life, okay, this is one of few, but one area of my life that I am so passionate about, I love, and I believe so heavily in, it's how much improvements you can bring to your life by taking control of your health. And by health, I just don't mean your diet, I mean diet and exercising, and how you could really take control of your body. I started out, years ago, and if you want to look at my YouTube station, you'll see my feature video. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a feature video, and that video is my body transformation. I went from someone who was out of shape a couple of years ago, and I wasn't always out of shape. I've been working out since I was 16 years old, but it always had its peaks and valleys. It's fair to say I've been around weightlifting for many years of my life. But when you get married and you have kids and your responsibilities increase, it's easy for your priorities to shuffle around. And if you let things shuffle around out of your control, certain things that you find important can take a back seat, which going to the gym, exercising, eating right, it's easy to fall off the train. And I let that happen. And for the last 4 years, though, I have dramatically changed my body composition, my health. I'm incredibly strong. I have a high amount of muscle mass. I just feel great. And it's a big source of confidence in my life, a big source of calmness, when I know that I'm in control of my life in this area. And I don't know how else to put it. And I've learned a ton about eating, about weightlifting, about the limitations you can put on yourself just by having it in your mind. And I highly encourage people, whether you're depressed, whether you have confidence issues, whether you have social anxieties, whether you're shy, the gym can solve all of this. I'm not even kidding you. There is nothing better than stepping in the gym, putting on your headset, putting on music you love, and having an hour or two. I go for almost 2 hours, 5 days a week, for yourself, and sweating, and putting yourself into a position where you're really feeling like you're doing good for your body and your cardiovascular system and your heart and your lungs. Every time I leave that gym, I just feel amazing, and I feel like I deserved, like that day I took advantage of. I deserved to live that day and see the sunset. And there's an expression that you either use it or you lose it. Okay, if you don't do resistance training or run or walk and use your muscles, these muscles will wither and die years down the line. Maybe not now, because when you're young and healthy, you feel invincible, but bad habits catch up to you and they get harder and harder to fix the older you get. So enough of my rant, but anytime I see this page of health, nutrition, and body as the title, I get really excited. So the first goal was my nutrition and eating. I will easily eat clean the majority of the time to establish optimal health, energy, and vitality. I did excellent here. A little bit about my eating. I did intermittent fasting for about a year when I first started my health journey. This helped me to lose body fat, and to really learn about my relationship with food and the foods I like, the foods I can eat, foods I can prepare. But it worked well for me. It's not the only diet. Let's not call it a diet. Let's call it I guess you could say it's a restrictive diet type. And there's different types, right? You can do intermittent fasting 18-6, which means I have a 6-hour eating window and I don't eat for 18 hours. You could do 1 day on, 1 day off, which I never tried, which is you eat whatever you want during day 1, and day 2, you don't eat at all except beverages, black coffee, water. But that's it. No sweeteners, no juices, nothing that has calories. But you could do keto. I tried keto for 3 months or so, which is high fat, no carbs. Just didn't feel like that was sustainable. You can do calorie counting, which is a way, using like MyFitnessPal or something like that, apps to track your caloric intake. So I've tried them all, and in the end, what I've settled with is I really enjoy the calorie counting, and I use an app called Carbon Diet Coach, CDC, $9.99 a month. Cool thing with Carbon is it has a coach every week, an artificial intelligence coach that tracks the calories, fats, proteins, and carbs, and sets targets. And you're supposed to log what you eat. It has barcode scanning. It makes pretty cool, a nice user interface. At the end of the week, you step on the scale, plug in some info, and then it runs through its artificial intelligence engine. And then it says if you met your goal or not. And if you did, It'll decide how it wants to alter things or keep things. If you didn't meet your goal, again, it'll kind of adjust things. And the beauty of this app is it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. The hard thing about the app is you got to be honest. If you're not honest, the app can't do its job. So for 80% of the year, I counted my calories. I got my body fat percentage down below 10%, which I'll talk about. But it's hard, you know, it's a big commitment. I prepare my meals for the following day. I spend probably collectively about 45 minutes every day on this app, tracking my things, adjusting this. But you really feel like you know what you're eating and what to expect. So I really would encourage people to understand that there's a simplistic formula to losing weight, and it's the primary driver is your caloric intake. People can argue that all they want, but I've read enough about it and watched enough experts give compelling scientific evidence through studies that show no matter what diets you want to talk about it, the diets are kind of just a mechanism. Pick a diet, whatever it is, that you see yourself dealing with over the long term. But it all is around caloric intake, calories in versus calories burned. And the most important thing is the long term. When I set out a goal to lose weight, what happens after you lose the weight, right? If your goal is to lose 15 pounds in the next 3 months, awesome. What if you achieve that? Then what are you gonna do? Say, yeah, I know how to lose 15 pounds. I'll go back to my eating habits. I'll gain some weight and I'll lose 15. Or do you sustain it and say, now I'm at 15 pounds. Maybe I can go another 5, maybe another 10. Maybe instead of just dieting and walking, let me go to the gym and introduce strength training or resistance training. You see what I'm saying? So pick a plan that works for your lifestyle and not just a temporary solution, because it's very easy to fall off the wagon and fall back into bad habits. So anyway, next one is exercising and strength training. Number of goals here. I will easily work out at the gym at least 4 days per week. Did that. Most of the time it's 5 days a week, and I did that for at least 90 minutes, so mostly more. Next is I will easily perform high intensity training at least 3 days a week. High intensity training is where you focus on doing exercises that really get your heart rate pumping to about 80% of its maximum level, and do that for a sustained period of time, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever. What I do is I go on the treadmill. I walk for about 3 minutes to get my blood flowing, and then I'll do sprinting. I'll sprint for, let's say, 7 miles per hour for 1 minute, and then I'll take a 45 seconds break, and then I'll increase it to 8 miles an hour and then take a break. 9, 10, 11 is my max. I could probably do 12, but I'm not here to win a race, you know. My goal is to get my heart rate going, and I do this up until around whatever it is, 12 or 13 minutes. And I do that in the, if I wanted to do that multiple days a week, I normally now do that probably four days a week. And I feel great because I feel like I'm really getting a high amount of oxygen into my lungs. I have blood pumping out of my heart at an excessive rate, which is very healthy for my heart health, for my blood circulation, my cardiovascular system. And this is why I do that versus just casually jogging on the treadmill for, you know, let's say 4 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour for 10 minutes. My goal is to get my heart rate up. I also jump rope as well. So that goal is achieved. The next 3 goals were interesting because I didn't hit them. But I learned a lot about why it's not as important, and I'll explain why. Bench press. I will bench at least 315 pounds by the end of 2022. Did not try it with a spotter, but I know I couldn't do it. The maximum I was able to do on my own without a spot are 2 45-pound plates and a 35-pound plate. So that's on each side. So that's 90, 9, 10, 11, 12, 125 on each side, 250 plus the bar, so it's 295. So I was able to do 295 on my own, which is great. My body weight is around 185 pounds, so that's a good amount of weight. I wanted to do 3 plates on each side, and haven't tried it, but I know I need a little bit more time. Why I'm not so bothered by this is the fact that I'm not a strength trainer, right? My goal is not to win strength competitions. So it's more for me personally about my health, and I'm learning it's more important about my volume, right? How many reps I can do and how many sets I'm doing than it is about, what I can do on a bench press or on a squat. Um, but it is important. What I learned is it's very important to, whatever you're working out, to take certain exercises to failure. So, there's nothing wrong with doing as many reps as you can until the point that you can't do any more. The problem people say is, all right, I'm going to do 10 to 12 reps. And that's the number you have in your mind. And most of the time when you get to 10, 12 reps, if you can do 2 or 3 more, like, that's really important. Like, you should focus on doing those 2 to 3 more, not limit yourself to a specific rep range. So what I found most important is incorporating a bit of working to failure on top of doing a large volume, and of how many reps I can get my muscles under tension, and progressively overloading my muscles over time seems to be a key theme. So that's why I'm not as bothered by 315, but I'm definitely gonna get there. We'll see when. Handstands. I do a lot of calisthenics, specifically with handstands, and I wanted to hold myself on a handstand against the wall for 2 minutes. So I just hoist myself up in a handstand, lean against the wall, and I wanted to hold that pose for 2 minutes. Couldn't get there. The most I did was a minute like 38, which is amazing. I'm 44 years old, and to be able to do that, I think is great. And I could also do handstands without the wall for probably, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds doing a freestand handstand. I wrote that goal down because I thought it would be cool and something different to try, and didn't do that. Body measurements, I said. So I took some body measurements on February 4th, and my biceps were 17 inches. The middle of my quads was 21. My chest circumference was 46 and a half, and I had a really good six pack. And I set goals to increase those, and measuring myself again. And what I found is, like, I put on a decent amount of muscle in terms of like my definition, but the growth of those muscles wasn't anything crazy. Like, I wanted to have my biceps grow an inch to 18 inches, my mid quads grow 2 inches to 23 inches because my legs are probably my weakest link. My chest grow about an inch, and I wanted to have maintain my abdominals, and my biceps grew a little bit, not an inch, no way, maybe a quarter of an inch. My mid quads grew about 3/4 of an inch because I've started to focus more on my leg exercises. My chest grew a little bit. So I didn't really hit the mark on this, but I'm not bothered by it, because in the end, I feel like what's most important is when I take my shirt off, I look in the mirror, like, how do I feel with what I see? And as long as I feel great and I feel good, that I think is more important to putting a measuring tape around my muscle and measuring how big it is. So I'm actually gonna like nix this year. I'm not gonna worry about, sorry, my Ring camera is going off. I'm not gonna worry about going through this coming year, because I don't find it really relevant. Anyway, next is sleep, quality sleep. I will strongly focus on my sleeping regimen in 2022 to ensure I get a minimum of 6 hours of quality sleep, with few exceptions allowed. I feel like I did much better here. Last year, I would be fine with like 4 hours of sleep. I'm an early riser. I get up around 4:30-ish in the morning, and I thought that was good. But I've learned how important it is not just to get sleep, but to get quality sleep. That 6 hours of sleep at least that you get, that's quality sleep. You're not waking up in the middle of the night. It's an important time of the day where your body is kind of settling down, unwinding. Your brain is kind of calming down with all the thoughts you had for that day. Your body is recovering, your muscle tissue is regenerating, and it's one of the most important times where, if you're looking to build muscle or to get into good health, like how important. I mean, it's obvious. People know that sleep is important, but not everyone gets a good amount of sleep, and I was one of them. So I wanted to focus on getting to bed at a good hour, focusing on getting good sleep, and this will be something that I will look this year on what things I can do to help improve the quality of the sleep I get. I tried different things, like having a nice warm cup of tea with honey in it, things to kind of soothe you down. I try to limit the exposure to the phone and to the TV, at least 30 minutes before I try to go to sleep. I try to darken the room and not have any lights come in, so the darker the room, the better. Cool the room off a little bit, make sure the air is not too warm. So like little tips and tricks to hack getting good quality sleep. And I'll continue to look and see if there's anything else I could find. The next one is around body composition. I will get at least 6 in-body scans during 2022 to ensure optimal body fat percentage, body weight, skeletal muscle mass, and my basal metabolic rate. This is a really important goal, and I have something here where an in-body scan, I'm not going to explain it too deeply. I did do a video, so if you go to my videos link in YouTube and do a search in-body, INBODY, you'll find a really good video that explains what an in-body scan is. But basically, an in-body scan is a scale that you step on, hold with your hands, and take your socks off, and you stand on a scale, and it sends these electronic pulses throughout your body, and it creates a kind of blueprint of your different body parts, your arms, your legs, your torso, and it tells you how much skeletal muscle mass you have, how much body fat you have, how much water weight you're holding. It's not exact. I know there's a marginal error, plus or minus a few percentage points, but it's definitely better than just stepping on the scale, because the scale just gives you one number, how much you weigh. How much you weigh have so many different factors. It could be how much water you're holding. You could have had a lot of sodium or salt yesterday, and then today, you're building up the sodium is absorbing water. So tomorrow your water weight could be higher, but you don't know. You're just seeing a higher number, where an in-body scan is a bit more precise and a bit more informative. You can go a step further and do what's called a DEXA scan, which is more like an X-ray. It's much more precise than in-body, but it's more expensive. Or I believe, and I don't know the name of it, but you can do one, I think that's most precise, where you get into a tub and the water dispersion is kind of explaining the different compositions from your body. And I've never done the DEXA or that one. I've only done the in-body, because there's a facility like 10 minutes up the road. It costs $10, not expensive, and it takes literally like 45 seconds to do. So I wanted to do 6 of these, and I realized I don't need to do 6. 4 is enough. So I did 4. 1 on Feb 10th, 1 on April 2nd, 1 on September 30th, and 1 on December 31st. The great thing here is, this is kind of like the report you see. I'll give you some of the statistics of it. The great thing is this year I maintained, my weight was 183 in February, 180 in April, 182 in September, and then I got it up to 190 at the end of December. A combination of that was I stopped tracking my calories, I enjoyed myself in the holidays, and I also put on a bit of muscle. So I want to get that down this year. But I had a few goals here. I did not want a body fat more than 9%. I wanted skeletal muscle mass no less than 105 pounds. That means whatever my weight is, I wanted 105 of those pounds to be muscle. And my total body weight cannot be more than 180. So I hovered around 180 for most of the year, but at the end of the year, got to 190, but I'm cool with it. My body composition is still good. According to this, my body fat percentage is 8%. And listen to what this report was throughout the year. It was 5.8%, 7%, 5.9%, and then 8%. So I'm 190 pounds and I'm still 8% body fat, which is great. That's 15 pounds of fat, which isn't bad at all. I have very low visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs, and that's really important. My basal metabolic rate is 2,082, which is how many calories does my body burn just sitting sedentary. That's really good. That's high. So I feel really proud of myself on how I've been able to keep my discipline up. It's not easy. There's many times I didn't want to go to the gym that I did, and I did it anyway. There's many times I didn't want to, eat well, and sometimes I do worse than others, but let's call it batting averages, right? If if you calculate, you have, let's say 3 meals a day and times 7 days, that's 21 meals. If 21 out of 21 meals, let's say 70%, so let's say 14 meals you can eat healthy, that's really good, right? That's a batting average of like 700.750. Like in baseball, that's like phenomenal. So think about it along the lines of, it's not so much being perfect, it's more about being consistent. And my goal is to be consistent, realizing that I'm human, and sometimes I want to eat, or I may want to have a couple beers. It's fine, right? It's consistency over perfection. So I feel really good about my body composition. One goal for me next year is I want to do a fitness competition. So I'm really going to put myself out of my comfort zone. In June, July, I'm going to sign up for a fitness competition where I'm going to get a pair of board shorts on, get nice and spray tanned, and see how I do with flexing my body on a stage of other guys who may be on steroids. I don't know, but we'll see. So I'm going to really take this to really seriously this year and see how well I could do with getting down to probably like I mean, if I do the math, I'm 190 pounds, so 175 pounds is lean. So add 15 pounds to that is where I get close to the 190. So presumably, if I was 175 pounds, I would have very little, if any, body fat, which isn't healthy. So I'd like to get down to like 178, 177. That gives 3 or 4 pounds of body fat, and I think I'll be shredded. So it's going to take probably 2 months, 2.5 months to get there. If I want to lose, like say, 1.5 pounds a week, and I want to take my weight, my body fat down from 15 pounds to like 3, so I'm going to burn 12 pounds. Burning 12 pounds at about 1 pound a week, it's 12 weeks, maybe a little bit more. So let's say 10 weeks, a little over 2 months. So we'll see how I do by March of this year. But if I hold my ground and keep up with this dieting, I'll should have like a body fat percentage of like 5%, 6%. We'll see. Last one, my annual wellness visit. So I want to make sure I keep up with my dental, my health. I go to a dermatologist. So dental, I will easily do 2 routine visits with no issues with my teeth. I have very good teeth. I have very good hygiene. I had an appointment on March 31st and another one on September 28th, and thank God everything's good. I have no cavities. I had really no issues. Pretty simple appointment. Health-wise, I do my annual physical once a year, which I did do on December 20th. And I would say out of a grading, I would give myself a B plus, where A plus is like the top. The reason is because there were some certain levels that were higher than I expected. My cholesterol was 224. Last year it was 197, which is where you want to be. You want to be below 200. And the year before that it was like 180. My LDL and HDL were really in good range, as well as the ratio from LDL to HDL. But I'm really focused on my cholesterol and making sure I keep myself at a very moderate to low risk. And I think what it was is I was eating a lot of eggs and red meat, and also working out up until my physical. And I learned that the amount of strength training you do, you're putting stress on your bodies, and you need to give your body probably 2 or 3 days of rest to get a quality test, a blood test and a urine test. And I didn't do that. I worked out the day before and probably, I think, had some level of impacts here. Maybe I'm talking nonsense with this may not impact so much like your cholesterol, but definitely my dieting. I was having 3 eggs a day. I was having a good amount of beef. So I'm notching my diet up to really limit my cholesterol, having more egg whites than eggs. Whole eggs, I'll have 1 a day, for example, because egg yolks are healthy. There's omega-3 in there. It has other good nutrients, and I think it's important than just the protein. So I'm going to keep a focus on that, but that went well, and I'd say a B plus, because other than that, things overall look great, and I'm very blessed with that. And then the last one was dermatologist. I went to on March 1st, and thank God all is okay, and I'll go back in a year. I mean, I'm Mediterranean. I'm half Italian, half Syrian. My skin is dark by default, and it's not something I normally worried about in the sense of like any issues with the sun, but nevertheless, anything could happen, and I want to stay on top of this. So now I go to the dermatologist once a year, and I would encourage people to look into doing the same if you don't already. How are we doing on time here? 44 minutes. Okay, so next is personal development and spirituality. First is daily gratitude, affirmations, and scribing, a fancy word for writing. Every day I will write in my gratitude journal. Gratitude journal is this. I am grateful every day. Basically have 3 lines, and you write 3 things you're grateful for. I didn't do it every day, but I do give gratitude every day. And it's an important part of my ritual. When the moment I step out of bed, I do smile. I give a few comments to God about thanking me for the day. And giving gratitude is extremely important. And if people don't have a habit and a practice of giving gratitude throughout the day, you really need to do that, because if you're not appreciative of the small things, the universe is not going to give you the big things. Next is every day I will read at least 5 daily affirmation cards. So on top of that, I do have these cards that have really positive affirmations on them, and it keeps my mind focused, right? And I do read this. Give you an example, I will not waste today. I will live today to the fullest. I have an amazing body and take care of it every day. God's favor shines so bright on me and my family today. God made me to be amazing, unique, and successful. So you see, I try to put positivity in my mind, optimism in my mind. That plus giving gratitude and reading your goals on a consistent basis is how I've learned you can acquire things that you may think are out of your reach. So I did a good job with that. And then every week I will write and reflect in my personal journal. I didn't do that at all. I have a journal. I do write in it, but I wrote in it today, or yesterday on the new year, but before that it was September. I don't know, I'm not so bothered by it. Like, I feel like there's no sense writing something if you don't have something important to say. My vision, honestly, is one day when I leave this earth and my family or grandkids, want to learn about Grandpa, they could read this book and have a lot of interesting things to understand how I think, how I look at the world, how I think about life, how I look at my family. But I just don't want to spew nonsense. So we'll see if I'm going to change that this year. But I definitely didn't do writing in my personal journal every week. Reading. I will overcome my poor reading habits and read at least 10 books this year to increase my knowledge, learn, and broaden my horizons. I didn't do this. I got 4 books. It's the same theme every year, and I don't have a good excuse. The books I did read were Atomic Habits by James Clear, awesome book. Acres of Diamond. I wouldn't even call that a book. It's a small little pamphlet, but it was very interesting. Acres of Diamond by Russell Conwell. Next is Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters by Dr. Meg Meeker. Great book about raising daughters in today's society and the importance of the family dynamic and fatherhood. And then the next one I'm currently reading from her is Boys Should Be Boys. So I kind of blended, personal development type books about being a parent. I didn't finish The Boys Should Be Boys. I definitely have to finish that. I actually started, believe it or not, reading the Bible. I'm Catholic and I'm starting to read the Bible. But my goal is to read at least 5 to 10 pages a day. It seems simple, right? But I don't do it. And that's why I read 4 books out of 10, which is a little embarrassing. Many successful people are hungry for learning, and they're doing that, and I need to do that. I don't know why. I'm not going to make promises, because this is a promise I can't keep for the last few years, but we'll see. Next is my evening ritual. I perform my evening ritual at least 5 days a week in order to set my priorities for the following day, acknowledge all of my blessings, recognize my accomplishments for the current day. And also I will review my vision board at least 2 days a week. I didn't do the vision board 2 days a week, and I'm definitely going to bring this back in. A vision board is a board with pictures of things that I want in my life, whether it's pictures of men who are incredibly fit, or certain types of cars, or pictures of money, places around the world I'd love to visit, And a vision board is kind of like an additional element that I use to keep things I feel that are important on the forefront of my mind. Great thing is like when I did those vision boards a couple of years ago, and it does change throughout the years, a lot of it I've achieved. Um, Maybe I'll do a video about that board, but excuse me, I feel like I'm going to yawn. But the vision board is something I need to do more often. And then my evening ritual, I would say I give myself a C plus on this. I didn't always spend time to do my evening ritual. My evening ritual is to kind of meditate for a few minutes, think about my day, think about what went well, what I was happy about, some fun experiences, think about the day ahead, tomorrow, what I want to do, what I should do. Again, very important. If you're serious about getting stuff done, you have to have serious habits, and these are the kinds of habits that are important. And I didn't do my evening ritual as much. Next is religion and God. Every day I will connect with God through either prayer, gratitude, or conversation. No question about it. I do this all day long. I'm very pleased with that. Next is every night my wife and I will say prayers with our daughter. We have a 9-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and we do say prayers every single night. It's a tradition and no exceptions. And I don't want to get too religious here, but I mean, I really feel it's important that as you raise your kids and even in your own life, I've found it very therapeutic to be able to talk to God when something was going on in my life that bothered me or I was concerned about, and having the ability and comfort to pray and talk it silently, in your mind to a higher power, I think is very important. And that's something we're trying to instill in our kids. Stephanie and I will actively support our daughter who goes to weekly religious studies, which she did do. It started and ended in April. I'm sorry, it went from April 5th to September 22nd, and then recently picked up again. Last one didn't do well, and not happy about it, which is ideally like to attend church at least once per month, assuming there were no COVID restrictions. There are no COVID restrictions. We went to church, I think, 2 or 3 times in the year, and then that bothered me. And I don't even need to attend mass. Like once or twice, my daughter and I just went to church while it was open, and we were the only ones there, and we just sat down for 3 or 4 minutes and just said prayers, and then left. Like, I'm cool with that. Got to try to make this more of a priority and work on that this year. And lastly was reviewing goals. I will review my goals at least once per week, which I did a good job on. So where are we now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So that's what I said. Like, this is not fun. This is not exciting, but it's important. And I find that it's important if you really want to make lasting change in your life. These habits and reading these goals and reading the goals, figuring out when you're going to achieve them are very important. And you'll see like some of these pages all throughout the year, I'll just take crazy notes on to hold myself accountable, right? Next goal, family and personal relationships. First with my wife. Every day I will ensure I express my love and appreciation for my beautiful wife. Next is at least once per month I will plan a nice dinner out or something out, like a date night, so I can maintain sufficient adult time with my wife. I'll take a step out of being a parent and worry about our romantic relationship. So I think overall, when it comes to the planning part, you'll see on like the back, just to go through some nice memories. I keep a log sheet just of the things we did. And with my wife, I mean, scanning down, we did mostly do things each month. November, we didn't. I don't know why. Every other month we did. Actually, April, we all came down with COVID, so that was another month we missed. But, nice dinner, a night in Atlantic City. We did a brunch. In May, we went to Aruba, just us, for celebrating our anniversary. Took a trip to Boston in June to see her brother and family. In August, we did, we had our weekly vacation in our summer home. In September, we did another Atlantic City trip, dinner, party. Excuse me. So I feel good about this. Where I don't feel good is every day I will express my appreciation, my love and appreciation for my wife. Let's be real. Real is being a parent is hard. A lot of distractions. Being a dad, a parent, the breadwinner for the family is hard, and it creates a lot of stress. And there's many times when the day just kind of got past us. We kind of focused on being parents. The kids distracted us or kept us busy, and I didn't express as much love or appreciation on a consistent basis as I wanted. That's the honest truth. And this is something I want to continue to work on, because I live with the idea that every day is precious and no day can be taken for granted. And every day you wake up and can get out of bed and do what you want to do is an amazing gift. And the people that are around you and help you be a better person are also a gift. And every day you should treat those people with as much kindness, much love, and appreciation as much as possible. And this is something I want to see myself continue to do on a consistent basis, and not let distractions of life, stress of work, whatever, get in the way of that. So that's an improvement I'm going to work on this year. The same, I'm not going to read them, but the same goes with my children. Expressing my love and appreciation, support them, be there for them, and have alone time with them. I plan like a daddy-daughter event once a month with just my daughter. And the same thing. Most of it's lunch. We did lunch together for church during the season of Lent. We did Ash Wednesday. We went to get our ashes on our forehead together. I took her and her friend to a fun indoor amusement park. We went shopping together for Mother's Day. There's another dinner we did. We went to ice cream. One day we was just her and I in our outdoor pool. We swam in the pool and did night swimming together. So, I think it's important to be there for your kids, do alone time, have time alone with them, talk to them, and get to know them better, what's important in their life, what worries them, that sort of thing. And I think I did a good job with that. Where I didn't do a good job, and this is something as well I want to work on, is my patience. I can have a habit of not being as patient of a guy as I should be. I get frazzled really easily on certain things. I'm a very big planner, and sometimes when things that I plan are at risk of not being met at the time I wanted, I get anxiety, and that anxiety can turn into me being impatient, and I'm not happy about that, to be honest. I definitely need to work on being more patient, being more easygoing, and realizing that things don't always go the way you want, but that's okay. So next is my family. Weekly, I will ensure that I regularly keep in touch with my parents and siblings. I will be conscious and support the transition my parents are going through this year with moving out of their home where they lived for over 30 years. Ideally, once a month, I'll strive to plan a guy's lunch with my dad and my brother. And then lastly, at least twice a month, I will ensure I regularly keep in touch with my cousins, aunts, and uncles. So some similar themes here. Some things that did not go well is I need to ensure that I keep in touch and talk to my parents on a regular basis. I know this is always a two-way street, in the sense that, anybody can pick up the phone and talk and make plans to see each other. But that's not the way I think. Be the change you want to be. And the change I want to see is I should regularly be keeping in touch with my parents and talking to them at least once a day. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I don't do that. And I think that's something I need to change. So that's one thing. And then second is, my dad and I and my brother used to go out for lunches once a month, um, which I think was a cool tradition. And we haven't done that in many months. We wanted to do that during the Christmas holiday break, but this week people were sick. Our house was sick kids like all week. It was tough. My wife had COVID, so it just didn't work out. But that's something that we need to do a better job on. But thankfully, it's not all gloom. I got a ton of family time, family events. I got to see my friends on a number of different occasions. I made plans. I had cousins over our house, which was awesome. We had a barbecue on August 27th with family members we don't get to see often, and I was happy to be the person to coordinate that. We had friends over we haven't seen sometime on October 16th for a barbecue. I went to Pennsylvania and visited my old college roommate on March 25th. With close friends, I got the chance to go out to dinner with my buddies during the Christmas break. Um, Lunch with a close friend of mine where we fell out of touch in July. Made coffee plans with guys I haven't talked to in a while. So like, these are things that like I really try to plan out, right, and keep in the front of my mind, because it's so easy for just like months to go by and you fall out of touch with people. You got your own families, your own life, your own kids. It's a distraction, and if you don't keep this in mind, you're gonna regret it. Some sad news this year on the last 2 points. We lost two close pets. Our dog Cassidy, who was a Wheaten Terrier and a rescue dog, we lost on June 21st, which is a very sad day. Then we lost our cat Meow Meow on September 1st, which was a very tough day as well. That cat was a cat we took in at our old home. She was just like a neighborhood cat, didn't have a home. Neighbors a couple doors down fed her. They moved, asked if we would feed her. We did, and then eventually we fell in love with the cat. We invited her in. After some time, she got used to it, and she's been our cat ever since. About 8 or 9 years. Both, Cassidy we put down in our home because her quality of life was just shot. Meow Meow we planned to put down, but she passed away. I was working in our guest room. She was sleeping in between my legs, and she just wasn't doing good. And about 2 o'clock, I noticed she died. And that was like, I checked on her an hour before that, and it was a very sad day. We just got a new dog, Murphy, who's a puppy and is a golden retriever. So it's like having another kid in the house. So that's was a fun change in the household. It's tough raising a puppy, but she'll be a great dog, I'm sure. And yeah, so that's that. Travel and lifestyle is next. First, in August, I will easily finance a summer rental with others in LBI, Long Beach Island, at a beautiful summer home for 7 days, which we did do. It was an amazing trip. We did it from August 6th to August 13th. We have another house this year, which is even better. Same dates. Normally I do record that and publish that. It's a fun vacation. I didn't do it yet, but I will plan to still get it published, because I like, my kids and I oftentimes will enjoy looking on the YouTube channel at old family functions and enjoy those memories. So that's why I publish those. We also planned a trip to Boston to visit my brother-in-law and his family. So we did that. I wanted to do that by April. We did it by February. We booked it and went from February 18th to the 20th. Got to stay at a nice hotel, and because of my rewards points, we stayed in a suite. Family vacation before the end of June 2022. Steph and I will successfully plan a family vacation for at least 4 nights away somewhere warm. Well, we did take a vacation, but it was just her and I, which was great. We got a chance to really have a great time. We stayed for 5 nights at an amazing vacation in Aruba. I did do a video on this. You can check that out. We went from May 20th to May 25th. It was supposed to be a little bit earlier, but we got COVID and had to reschedule it. But we stayed in Aruba at an amazing hotel, flew business class, and most of this trip was free because of all my Marriott rewards points and my United points. So I'm very blessed that all the rewards travel I did, I was able to cash in on. It was a great trip. We wanted to do a Christmas season trip, but we didn't do it. Um, just was too much going on. We wanted to do something like a weekend trip by the end of the year, like Hershey, Pennsylvania, which we did do, or a cool place called Crystal Springs. But in replacement of that, we did schedule a fun long weekend with a couple other families at a place called Kalahari in Pennsylvania. It's an indoor water park and nice hotel. We're doing that, I think, on January 20th to or 19th to the 21st, something like that. So that was kind of like, we didn't do this, but we planned that and kind of made up for it. There was a huge slew of home renovations, which was part of my lifestyle goals, which we did do this year, thanks to the big cash bonus we got. But just to kind of go through the list, we wanted to finish our basement. Like, that was the big project, and the budget for that showed to be a little over $60,000. And I'm like, I'm not ready to do that. There's other things I could do with that money. So what did we do instead? We renovated our living room. We put in these amazing built-in bookshelves, redid the molding, put in a electric fireplace. It looks awesome in there. New furniture. We wanted to redo the layout in the family room. This included molding on the walls. We built these benches underneath the windows with cabinets. Got a new Samsung frame TV. Completely redid our fireplace with, instead of brick, we have this really nice wainscoting, decorative molding on it. I fully painted the family room. We got new family room furniture. Did crown molding more throughout our first floor. Outside, we did an amazing project where I redid pavers, about 1,100 square feet of dark gray and light gray pavers. A beautiful, like 12-foot, 13-foot fireplace structure, all made out of stone, brick, stones, not like veneers, like they're individual bricks with different layers. It came out amazing. And fireboxes on the side, an outdoor kitchen, grill, sink, hot and cold water, refrigerator. Really came out amazing. And then I also did a outdoor water feature, a pondless water feature with like a waterfall effect. So proud of that. The outdoors looks amazing. We redid our laundry room. We completely renovated the laundry room, new appliances, cabinets, and so on. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I did was I got a new tattoo on my left arm, which I love. I got that on June 7th. It hurt like hell, but I'm really proud of it. It's on my shoulder. It's a picture of like like an old school like stopwatch, like a pocket watch, with ribboning around it, and it says, I don't even remember. It was an inspirational quote that talks about planning, taking control of your future. It's late, guys. I don't know why I can't remember it. But that was unplanned, and I got that. New dog, I said. Yeah, so I think the travel and lifestyle goal I really feel good about. We did a lot this year, but I think the one thing my wife and I really want to improve this year is, while we did have a lot of major events, we need a lot more minor events, taking our kids for an exciting day trip somewhere, and do that more often. It's really important. I want kids to grow up with really good memories, and it's not always about doing the big vacay. It's fun to just take a 4-hour trip to, a zoo or something like that. So that's something we're going to improve this year. Next is personal finances and investments. So first one is regarding my assets. By the end of 2022, I will easily increase the value of all my assets by a minimum of $200,000. Next, I will constantly track my investments and allocations across all of my different strategies: 401k, brokerage accounts, life insurance, cryptocurrency. And next is I wanted to apply for a home equity line of credit. So overall, look, the market this year sucked, right? Inflation killed us. The value of goods and services were completely like out of the water. And the markets just got creamed. So like, give you an example, like last year I was up 18% in my 401k. I had over $900,000 in my 401k. I was up 18% versus 2021. This year, I was down 14%. So that's a common theme of most of my investments that just didn't go up. I mean, they stayed flat or they went down. So this will change, right? I'm not retiring in the next few years. It'll come back. And, there's a quote I've heard that you only lose money when you sell, right? So while the value of the portfolio is down, I didn't really lose the money. It's still sitting there and it will come back. But I didn't do it. On December 31st, the value of my assets were 1.5 million. When I measured it today or yesterday, it was 1.447. So it actually went down. Right? Most of it went down because of my investments going down. But it didn't go down a ton, right? It was what, $50,000 less? Yeah, so really not bad at all, but certainly didn't go up by 200,000. That was not possible. I did get a home equity line of credit for $200,000. It's kind of like there just in case. I did use about 30 grand of it for a few things, but it's there. I plan to pay that off soon and use that just to kind of have it. And in case I need it, emergency or something unexpected, I could leverage that if I needed to. But it's if I need to. It's not something I'm going to rely on just going to further debt. In terms of debt reduction, before the end of May 2022, I wanted to eliminate the credit card debt I had and then assess the student loans, which I'm paying for my wife. I did pay off my credit card debt with the exception of one, which is an interest-free loan. But, it grew again. There's, quite a bit of credit card debt this year. I need to pay off again, probably around 20 grand. I plan to pay that all off again in March when I get my bonus. Some of that I don't really have, like some of that debt I didn't pay off. For example, like some of the money I used to pay, I should have paid off that money when I charged the LBI summer house too. I used that to get the points. I didn't pay that off for whatever reason, right? And I figured cash is king right now. The market's crazy, and I'd rather have more money in an emergency fund than, I don't carry a balance, meaning I pay off my credit cards. The debt that is so high is interest free. So I did a balance transfer. I paid a small 2% fee, but it's interest free. So I'm not paying interest every month, but it does definitely siphon out the money I have coming in for my monthly paychecks with the minimum balances due. So I got to get rid of that. And honestly, debt reduction is key, and debt is horrible. I use my cards, I think, pretty responsibly, but I wouldn't use my credit cards as much if I didn't enjoy the benefits of all the rewards I get. So for example, I got $1,000 back from American Express for the money I spent. So anyway, side gig. I wanted to make at least $7,500 with that phone consultations, but instead I didn't make that. I made $6,284 rounded up, which is not bad. These are all the phone calls I did. I got money for it, which I was telling you earlier. Yeah, so I'm really pleased about that. 6,200, 6,300. I missed my mark by $1,200 or so. Not bad. And then my strategic business investment. This is something I gotta fix. Okay? You don't get rich saving. Okay? You can save as much as you want, but you're not gonna get rich. You get rich by investing. Looking at your money like companies look at employees. Your money's gotta work for you, and you gotta diversify. The majority of my investments are 401k. I have a 401k balance of, I don't know, whatever it is, 700 and something thousand, 740 if you count, 770, 771 I have in my 401k, but I can't use that money. So it's sitting there. So there's money working for me, but I hope it's there, right? I hope my tax bracket is lower. I hope the tax rule, there's so many what ifs, which bothers me. I have a whole life insurance plan, which I've been investing in for several years. That's now almost $24,000, which isn't bad. That's cash. I can touch that money, tax-free. I have started student funds for my kids, which has a balance of a little over 10 grand. My total number of bank accounts, bank account balances is almost 71 grand. I've got cryptocurrency balance of almost 28 grand. That was crazy, and it's prime when the market there was doing like crazy things. My balance was almost 150 grand. January 1st of this year was 106. Now it's 28. I'm going to keep it and let it ride. It's always come back, but I don't know. It's a really speculative market for sure. My brokerage, I have a TD Ameritrade, was 32 grand on January 1st. Then went up to 44 in March. It's come down ever since. So down and up, but it's now at 36. That's indicative of the poor market conditions we're having. My principal, we got a home equity line of credit, as I said recently. The home appraisal, when we did that, appraised our home at like 1.05 million. And I have a mortgage balance of 582 grand. So I have a decent amount of equity. I count that as part of my assets, even though I know people would argue you can't count the equity in your home as assets because I'm not planning to touch that money. I can't just withdraw that money, but I counted it, 468 grand. If I remove 468, I guess my assets would be about $1 million. With it, it's about 1.4. So I'm really pleased with this. Because I can't control the market, right? What I'm not happy about is I want to be more diverse, and I want to look into real estate investing. I wanted some rental properties in my name where I could have other people pay down the principal. I could have some cash flow every month, and 10, 15 years from now, I'd have a lot of equity in those homes. I can cash out, sell ideally. Maybe I can give those properties to my kids. Who knows? Last one, public service and charity. Here, I didn't meet the mark as much as I should have. First is charitable donations. By the end of 2022, I will easily donate at least $6,500, and then I crossed that out and said, no, I should do $7,500 to charity and church. And I'll also leverage the company charity match program my company has to get that goal from $7,500 to $8,500. So they basically match dollar for dollar to a charitable donation up to $1,000. What did I do? 3,830, which I don't know why I didn't siphon out more. 3,800 is not a lot. It's not a lot of money, to be honest. I'm not proud of that. The amount of money I make. What did I make this year? If I count up my bonus and salary, $521,000 before taxes, and then another $6,300, whatever the number was, $6,200 for the side gig. So $528,000 I made this year, which is the highest amount of money I made in my entire life. And after taxes, let's say I get 60% of that after tax. A lot of that money went into home renovations. I early in the year paid down debt, made some investments, put some money in the stock market, and left a lot of my cash in the bank account, which is now gaining probably like 3.5% versus like 0.01% last year. And I should have wrote more checks. And I find it really important with the mindset that if you want to receive, you have to give. That's like a basic principle in law, even in the Bible, give and you shall receive, knock and the door will open. So yeah, I have to improve my giving next year. No ifs, ands, or buts. And then the last one was not done at all. I wanted to donate 10 hours of my time volunteering, anything, and engage my wife and children if I could. Go to a senior center, volunteer at church. My daughter did go for probably 2 months, every Thursday for an hour and a half. She did go to a youth group at a church with her friend, which is awesome. Not really volunteering, but I think putting your daughter in an environment, something like that, a church youth group, I think is a nice way to keep them grounded. They did do some volunteer work one time at a senior, or they did serve food for senior citizens. I wanted to do that though. Again, I have no excuse, and it's a shame that it's not something that came to fruition but my public service and charity this year has to be on point. And that's it, guys. That wraps up 1 hour and 20 minutes. Wow. So as you can see, this is how serious I take my life and my goals. This year, I'm going to do my goals in the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to do another video to read them out. I'm going to probably shake things up a little bit with some of these things. But at the end of the day, it's fair to say I'm very pleased at myself. When I look in the mirror, I'm happy at the person I see. Sure, there are things I want to improve. Sure, there are things I could do better, do differently. But I'm happy with who I see, and I'm happy with the kind of person I am. And there's an expression like, people may not remember the things you say or the things you do, but they'll always remember how you make them feel when you are around them. And that's the kind of person I want to be. When I die one day, I want people to talk about what it was like to be friends with me, to know me, to have me around them, to be in their life. And that, I think, is really important. But that takes work. It takes work to be a good friend, to be a good husband, to be a good dad, to be a good son, to be a good brother. It takes work, and you have to stay focused on it. And that's why I do these goals settings and these goal reviews. So I don't know if anyone watched this. Not many times did I look up and see anyone really watching the video, and that's totally fine. I'm not doing this for fame. This is not how I make my money. I'm doing this to show what dedication looks like, and I'm dedicated to improving myself. So that's it. Till the next video, wish everyone a happy new year, a happy and healthy new year. Stay focused on yourself. Stay focused on improving. Until the next video. Thanks, guys.